Hi, it's Mrs. Greno, and I wanted to just go over starting with Unit 1 or the first unit here in trigonometry and just make sure you understand the layout of the units, how the assignments and the quizzes kind of work, which will kind of be the same throughout the entire course. So as you can see here, you've worked through the welcome folder, you understand the math, what's available to you in the math help folder. So now we jump into Unit 1. So there's Unit 1s, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's no Unit 6, and Unit 7 is ultimately the final exam review and test that you'll be taking at eSchool in the lab. Unit 1, though, one thing I want to make note of is that make sure that you understand for within each lesson, so as we scroll down here, each lesson, so here's the lesson, there is a graded assignment, so this is the directions and the assignment. And then you have a quiz, a little bit different quiz maybe than in a traditional math class where you'd only take like one quiz in a chapter. Really, your quizzes are more like an assignment, so it's just more of a multiple choice assessment. So you get that instant feedback with your quizzes. The bigger point item is as you scroll down again, each lesson has a graded assignment, which you'll work out by hand, and then a quiz, which gets auto-graded. Then you'll have your actual unit test, which is worth more points. As we kind of scroll back up here, I want to take note that, again, each lesson that you only need to do the odd problems on the graded assignments, and I'll point that out. You can do them all, but just to kind of really streamline your work and make this doable within your start to end date, we're going to focus just on the odd problems, which can be completed by hand or typed in a document or Google Doc. You're able to take pictures of your handwritten work and submit the images for the appropriate graded assignment. So whether you're actually doing the assignment on the actual worksheet or if you're doing it like in your notebook, you can take a picture of your notebook paper and then attach that image. That's what you're turning in for your assignment. So if it's 3 pictures, 3 different pages, that's what you're turning in, so I can open that up, grade it, and give you feedback on it. Please always submit the graded assignment prior to doing the quiz. So it makes sense that you can do the graded assignment. You're getting feedback from myself. That's definitely an assignment you might resubmit based on the feedback I'm given. Maybe you, and again, ask for help prior to. So if you're working through 10 problems, you're really stuck on 3 of them, send me a text or email it, maybe asking for a little bit more clarification or help with those problems. I can either streamline it through the lesson or give you help video. Each quiz does allow for 1 retake. So this is where quizzes are a little bit different. So once you do a quiz, you can go into your grade book and review any of the ones you got wrong. And you are allowed to do a retake, so 1 retake of it. So please make sure that you're not just redoing it right away, but again, that you're reviewing the mistakes you made, following up with me if need be. So within Unit 1 here, as we look at it, again, you have introduction. Each unit has a little unit review, so this is something I recommend you make a copy of. It's a Google Doc. You can kind of save it if you want to print it out. It's up to you, but just a really good review that's going to cover most of the stuff in Unit 1. In terms of the lesson itself, you can see here basically it's like 38 slides that you have to work through. So I want to highlight a few things in the lesson to make sure that you're seeing everything. Sometimes the setup, students can be confused with it. So you're just progressing through each lesson page. These are like slides playing that video, not necessarily that there's a lot to be read there. You'll have objectives, so things you need to know within each lesson. Vocabulary words. You're going to continue, again, taking notes where you feel appropriate, whether it's a vocabulary word you don't know or an example we're starting to get into. When we get to kind of this presentation, understand that you're playing this slide, but then each of the dots means how many more pages there are. So making sure that you're progressing through each of these after you play or see whatever the example is. So a lot of these will just kind of like worked out examples that they're doing through this slide presentation. So that is throughout all the lessons as you work through it. I'm going to kind of jump ahead here. Again, if there's a table, fill in those values and copy those into your notebook. When you're looking down here, make sure again you're scrolling down and you're seeing all of these pages as you work through each slide or each page in the lesson. One thing I want to point out here is, like, for example here, so you want to make sure that you're going up and down, but some of these pages are formatted where you also have to go all the way down to the bottom and make sure you're sliding all the way over to the left to see anything over on that right hand side. So again, making sure you're seeing everything within each lesson presentation. As you get to the end of the lessons, it'll give you a summary. So this is a good place to assess kind of where you're at. What did you get from the lesson? Like at the end of each lesson, little bit more application of where you'll see that this trigonometry um, and applying it in real life. And then finally, what you're going to have is this link, which will be your assignment. So this is the graded assignment. So the first part of this lesson is this assignment. When you click on it, you're going to get this document that opens up that, again, you have the opportunity to either print this off. What I've seen be most useful is actually students just opening this document up and, again, writing their answers in their notebook. So putting assignment 1.01, their name on top of that. So everything is actually kept in your notebook. Their name is on top of that page. And then they're just working through problems 1, 3, 5, and showing all of their work for that. So as you can see here, as you kind of scroll down, showing the work through these problems. So for this assignment 1.01, you're working through problem 19. Once they do that, again, taking pictures with your phone, you can scan it. If you're having some problems with that, reach out to me in terms of making sure that you have a doable way to submit your assignments. But then that's what you would submit for 1.01. After that, you can then take the quiz. So again, the quiz is more of a multiple choice assessment, again, on this lesson. So it's completely computer based or auto graded. So kind of taking those two assignments, kind of looking back over here at the list. So again, you're going to see again right here, when you click on this, you'll be like, well, what is this? This just actually goes back to that same page we just saw. So it goes back to page 36 of the lesson. It's just so that if you didn't open it up, you have the 1.01 graded assignment. So that'll give you that Word document we saw. Here's where you're going to submit 1.01. So again, the format is the same for every unit and every lesson. So when you look here, you're going to have a drop box, so you can show that drop box, and that's where you'll have that ability to attach images. So whether you are scanned your documents or you're taking pictures of it, you would attach all those images here. If you're ever having problem attaching, or you can only attach one and you have 3 things to attach, reach out to me. Don't submit it, okay? Because then you just have to go through the whole resubmit process. Make sure that I can correct that for you, or that you can make sure you can attach all of your work. Then you're going to go into your quiz. So again, here, this is where I just kind of made a note here. It says make sure, so if you ever see anything with a pencil that it doesn't drop down, but make sure you see my comments. Make sure that you follow the directions for rounding, and this is for all of your assignments and all of your quizzes. Especially when it's auto graded. Again, not that I won't go back and make any changes or give you credit where it's due, but initially, that if you want it graded correctly from the beginning, you need to make sure you round correctly. Otherwise, it's marked wrong. And I kind of showed an example here. So when you're ready for the quiz, you'd go ahead and start it. It says, are you ready to start? And you would say yes. So again, you can condense this, and then you would have those quiz questions that you would work through. And that is the gist of the first lesson, which again is the same as you scroll throughout the entire module. So you can see you'll have lesson 1.02, lesson 1.03, trig ratios in the unit circle, and then 1.04 is more of a review. So I'll wrap up this introduction to trigonometry. As we jump back up here, just so I can have this beginning part so we can see it all. So again, this is all of module or unit 1. As you get to the end of each unit, I want you to understand that you will have a discussion-based assessment. So if you remember from the course expectations, that's when you're going to text me or reach out to me to set up a time to review your assignments and kind of review your work from unit 1. So it is that opportunity to get another layer of help and communication between us to go over any problems you got wrong. I'm definitely going to ask you some questions because I want to make sure that you're grabbing onto all this stuff and understanding it. Please don't wait to the discussion-based assessment if you need more help. So you should be emailing me or contacting me or setting up Blackboard Collaborate sessions as needed throughout each of the unit lessons. But definitely DBA is where you're going to stop, and then we can either do it over the phone or we do it on Blackboard Collaborate. Once you're done with that, then again, you would take your unit test, and there's 2 parts to it. So again, once you start a test, you need to finish in its entirety. So make sure that there's no save option, that you complete your tests completely and submit that. And then you're done with that first unit, and you're going to move on to unit 2. So hopefully that helps out a little bit, just reinforcing how you can turn in an assignment, and also reinforcing that on those graded assignments, you only need to complete the odds. So please let me know if you have any more questions.